Welcome back to another episode of the Ark Switch Survival Guide. Today we are going to scout out this awesome location for our first main base on land, and we are also going to get scared half to death by an oviraptor, who also got scared all the way to death as he jumped off a cliff running in terror from us. So that's always fun. Gotta love oviraptors. We are also going to pack up our floating fortress, get all of our dinosaurs inside, and sail all the way down the coast to the new base location. So we'll teach you some good tips and tricks for sailing on a raft fortress, but this will be a little bit more let's play than focused guide today. I hope that's okay, but you know, it's good to mix it up every now and then. But we'll still teach you some good tips, like when you jump in to loot a dead ray, make sure all the rays are actually dead. And we will escort Bob, the Brontosaurus painting, all the way down the coast where he can park safely next to our floating fortress. So I don't always show you guys this, but before I go out on an expedition, I generally loot my vegetable garden and just grab a few vegetables from these crop plots that are just constantly growing food for me. I don't think I've had to even think about food for a very long time, because I just, eat a snack before I go out, and 5 vegetables is enough to completely max out your food gauge, which is really great. I also drop the dinosaur feces that I've been picking up into the crops to give them enough fertilizer, and it's just kind of a constant supply of food. I don't really have to think about it anymore, which is great. So I'm scouting some base locations, and this little plateau up here right above the lagoon that I've just been kind of hanging out in for a while is actually a great base location for a large tribe. This has a very big plateau that's surrounded on most sides by mountain slopes, so it's really hard for dinos to get up here. And this is the location on the map. You can see that blue triangle where I am, and it's actually pretty easy to get to here. And it's a pretty safe area. There's not a ton of crazy dangerous predators that spawn up here, but you do have to make a couple good-sized walls. Like this area right here, left to right, has to be completely walled in. And I will probably eventually build up here too, but I'm going to start with a smaller area that's easier to defend, which is right here. They're right next door to each other, so I'll probably have 2 main base sections eventually when I get big enough. But this is the spot that I really like. This is, I think, where I'm going to start my first main base, and as you can see here, there are very high cliffs on the right-hand side, and this little plateau has high cliffs all the way around it except for one little spot that I'm going to have to wall off. So there's a pretty dangerous river below it, but there's lots of dangerous dinos that go down there, but they can't climb up the cliff edge. Yeah, there's always a Spino or a Baryonyx like that guy over there, and lots of dangerous stuff down in the river, but there's lots of good stuff too, like saber-toothed salmons and good things for food. Now on the left-hand side, you can see there's another cliff, and there's a couple of therizinosaurs, which are really bad news if you get into a fight with them. Down the river, there's some raptors. Like, there's a lot of dangerous stuff at the base of this cliff, but on top of it is a great spot. And here's the location. It's right about 80-50, and it's really easy to find. You just head up this little river, and then the cliff just overhangs it right there. Now, there is a lot of nice flat areas up here, and I'm just going to rest for a second. But, it's right across from this really nice mountain, which is covered in metal and crystal. The first video that and there's a Tapehara on that mountain. I need to tame one of those pretty soon, and I will get to him very soon. Now, oh gosh, that is... Oh, thank goodness, it's just an oviraptor. Okay, he scared me half to death, but it looks like I scared him all the way to death because he just jumped off a cliff running away from me. Those guys are just great. Love those little devils. Dinosaurs don't actually take any damage from falling, but I'm sure he's going to get eaten by piranhas down there. So that mountain across the river is covered in metal, and the first guide that I made to show you how to get crystal was actually on that mountain. So it's a great spot to be close to, but not quite next to, because there's a lot of dangerous predators up there. So this is really well hidden. If you're playing PvP, this forest might actually be good to keep above your base if you build here. Now this big rock right here might be just enough for a T-Rex or a Brontosaur to climb up, so I'll probably put a wall above that. But this whole area is surrounded by cliffs, And the only place you can get up to it is right here. You can see this little ramp here that's mostly covered by this tree, and I'm going to have to wall that off, but it will not be a very big wall, so a very small amount of stone is going to be able to protect this entire plateau. So I'm eventually going to just level off everything here, and it's pretty flat too, and I'll knock down all the trees and make this a really big dinosaur pen. But for now, I will just start by probably building right around here where this bright red dodo is. That's pretty cool. Kind of like his color. I might have to tame him. So yeah, right around here is going to be a really nice spot for a big dino pen. And it's right above a pretty steep cliff, which should keep me very safe and keep my dinos well out of reach of anything that's going to attack. So once again, this is going to be a great base location. If you're looking for a good base location on the southern coast, this is an amazing spot. Just be sure you've got a little bit of firepower to knock down any dangerous dinos. Right below where I am right here, I always see people run into like a big crocodile or something, and a lot of times there's a Spinosaur just at the base of that cliff. So keep an eye out for that, but this is going to be a really nice spot. So I'm definitely decided that I'm going to build up here. So the next thing I need to do is just bring my base around and park it at the bottom of those cliffs, because I've got a lot of base supplies. Now, I spotted this bright red male Hesperornis, which I thought I could pick up with my Pteranodon because it's a tiny little dinosaur. It's about the size of most dinos that a Pteranodon can pick up. But it turns out there is no flying dinosaur that can pick up a Hesperornis. I mean, maybe because they're too slippery and oily. I don't know. They're just weird animals all around. But I had to abandon that idea. And once again, we're just running really fast forward so you don't have to sit and watch me fly all the way down the coast. Even though it's not terribly far away that we're going. Just, you know, it'd be like a 30-minute video if I did that in normal speed. So we've got the entire raft all packed up, and I've moved the dinosaurs around to keep them towards the middle of the inside of the raft, because anytime we go past like a rock or something, it's got a chance of knocking dinosaurs off if it runs into them. So they're a lot safer on the middle, and even sometimes a steep slope on the beach can actually knock a dinosaur off. Also, every time I move, I always like to stop and look around and make sure all of my dinosaurs are still on board the raft, because sometimes you get things like this bird here almost fell off the back of the raft because he just wasn't properly being carried at the spot that he was. So always double check your dinos and make sure you're not leaving anybody behind in the water to get eaten by a shark. I also like to keep an eye on this scrolling text here, and I saw that my plant turrets just killed a couple of Hesperornis, which are actually really helpful dead too. Now, I've tamed the Hesperornis that I ran into before because they were females, and female Hesperornis lay eggs that can be cooked into oil, and they're very helpful as an oil farm. But a dead Hesperornis is also really helpful because they give you organic polymer. Now, you can get a little bit more polymer if you loot them with a sword, but organic polymer is a perfect substitute for regular polymer. The downside is it has a spoil timer. I think it's like 30 to 45 minutes, but if you get a bunch of this stuff, you actually can avoid having to go up to the really dangerous mountains in the middle of the island to get obsidian. So this is actually going to really come in handy because I'm going to show you how to make an electric system and a refrigerator very soon, and you need a lot of polymer for that. So I really don't want to have to go all the way up to get obsidian. So this will be really helpful if I can just get everything put together fast enough and actually build that refrigerator using the polymer that I'm picking up from these Hesperornis. So I'm going to keep heading down the coast, and I'm having to go over some deeper water, which I'm not real thrilled about. And I don't love tight spaces like this either, because every rock has a chance of knocking your dinos off. But it looks like we're in pretty good shape, and we barely fit the raft through that. So there we go. So this is nice and shallow right here. I'll stop for a second because we've been shooting a whole bunch of rays that have been just following this base. And now that we've killed them, I'm just going to hop out here real quick. And they have a decent amount of fish meat. So let's just grab some of this, and I'm going to use the pick. And whoop, Okay, there's looks like they're not quite as dead as I originally hoped, but okay, good. So the plant turrets took care of the rest of those guys. Thank goodness, because rays can knock you down pretty fast. They're actually faster than megalodons, and they can kill you just about as well. So definitely be careful if there's ever rays in the water. Just try to avoid the water when that happens. And they actually can move really fast, and they usually travel in packs like those guys. So we're just killing off everything that we go past. And I'm trying to avoid the really deep water because whales can come up from the bottom. And even though we're pretty much invincible towards normal whales, any normal whale gets slowed down too slow to really hit us on this raft by these plant species X turrets. But I'm still a little bit worried about an alpha whale, which can spawn randomly anywhere on the island, on the outer coasts. So, oh, good. And our Oviraptor has been stuck in the wall for a long time, but he's somehow managed to wander himself out of being stuck, which is great. So I just put him to stop. Now, here's another helpful trick that I really like. If you pull up to get a rock just kind of embedded inside the courtyard there, you can just harvest the entire boulder, and that gets it out of the way, first of all, but I also just got 70 stone that I just got to pick up just kind of on the trip. Now, a lot of times I will actually park a Doedicurus in the courtyard, and he'll just smash any boulders that I go past, and then by the time I get to my destination, I've got hundreds, maybe thousands of stone to use. But for now, I'm just kind of trying to stay focused on the mission here. And there's that red male Hesperornis. I'm going to see if I can stop far enough away from him, and I might be able to tame him. But I'm just going to try to get those plant species X turned off. And looks like they just killed the Hesperornis. Let's see, was that the red one up front? Yes, it was. Okay. Well, that didn't quite work out, but, there's plenty more Hesperornis in the sea. Now, I will say I have my dinosaur count maxed out on my server, and that's part of why I see so many rare dinosaurs all over the place. You probably won't see anywhere near as many on your game, but you can change the settings and increase the dinosaur count to get a lot more rare dinosaurs. But it also increases all the bad dinos too, so you get a lot more T-Rexes, Raptors, and all that fun stuff. So be careful when you do that, but if you're looking for a specific rare dinosaur, upping the dinosaur count is a great way to increase your odds of finding it. So I'm going to go real fast again and just loot all of the dinos that we killed with these plant species X turrets. Now, somebody asked me on the comments recently, what's the fastest way to get hide? Well, honestly, this is a really good way to get tons of hide. I generally just go down the coast with my plant X turrets and shoot down a lot of big dinos, and then just harvest them as I go by, and I never run out of meat and hide, which is pretty nice. It's just kind of a side effect of cruising around in this floating fortress. So that's a really easy way to do that. And, also just killing big dinosaurs, can get you a lot of hide if you're low on it. And you can just oftentimes kind of get on a ledge above something like a Triceratops. And you can kill them even with slingshots if you're, pretty well positioned above them. But that's a good way to get meat that way, and a good way to get a lot of hide. So I am just going to keep escorting Bob the Brontosaurus down the coast, and I'm not super worried about him walking by himself because I've got him on neutral. If he gets attacked, he will fight back. And Brontosaurs have a really long sweeping tail attack. They can hit stuff from pretty far away. It kind of punts it, and they actually do a ton of damage. They're not a whole lot weaker than a Tyrannosaur, really. And I've been putting a lot of his stats into HP, so he's got like 3,000 health on this guy. So I'm not super worried about him dying to anything that I'm going to find along the coast. The other thing is we killed off almost everything on the way over here with those Plant X turrets, so they pretty much just cleared out everything that was in the path. Speaking of which, a Brontosaur like this will actually clear trees as he walks and just smash them all down. So now that we're back in range of our turrets and the feeding trough, I'm going to go ahead and stop him here, and we'll actually stop the episode too, because this is a good place to stop. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned some good tips, even though this was mostly Let's Play. But be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to our channel. We have a challenge to reach 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit 1,000, my wife is actually going to join me for some cooperative Ark gameplay, and I promise that will be really fun and well worth subscribing. So if you have not subscribed already, be sure to do that and hit the bell for notifications, which will make sure that it tells you when the next video comes out from the Ark Switch Survival Guide. We hope to see you soon. Thanks so much for watching this video from the Ark Survival Guide. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you more great guides like this one. Ark is an amazing game, but there is so much to learn before you can really enjoy it. We are dedicated to bringing you high-quality guides, tutorials, and Let's Play videos that are fun, helpful, clean, and suitable for the entire family. There's a tutorial in this series for everything we have done so far in this video. Check out these playlists for more episodes from this series and other guides to help you enjoy your journey on Ark.